Now that's what you should be expecting today from 11 a.m. Christmas Igbadun. All road leads to Glasshouse Airport to celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on a Christmas day. Well, on this particular discussion segment, taking stock of the year 2022, focusing on politics, and if time permits, we may delve into economy, power, security, you just name it. It's all about taking stock of the year 2022, but we're going to start it off with the political angle, political segment of it. With me here in the studio to talk about this, I have a one-time executive director to Edo State governor, and of course, one-time also councillor of Ward 7 in Ego local government, a political analyst. Join me to welcome Derek Ohunwago. Derek, welcome to TMI. So this edition, I appreciate your coming.
Merry Christmas to you. Yes.
All right. Anybody close to him is, yes, CEO Score Progeny. I wonder what that is. I wonder what that is, but he's CEO Score Progeny, a political analyst. He is also a clergyman, a very, very vibrant youth. When you talk about the things of God and, of course, governance, you just name it. Join me to welcome Chris Osifo. Chris, welcome to TMI on this edition.
Merry Christmas.
It's been like eons. I've not seen you for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, but thank God for His grace that has kept us. Merry Christmas, friends.
All right. As we're very close to Chris Osifo, he is a political analyst, very humble, very calculative. When we talk about national and international politics, is well grounded. He is also a human rights activist. Join me to welcome Honorable Destiny Hearable. Welcome to TMI Sunday's edition. I appreciate your coming. All right. All right. So I'm going to start with you, Destiny. The year 2022 has been filled with so much activity, so much event. We're going to zoom in on the political aspect of it. What do you feel about the year 2022 with regards to politics?
Thank you, Mr. Orison. The year 2022, actually, I would say it has been a good year so far, you know. When it comes to politics, the youth coming to light, the youth wanting to support their own candidates, the Kwankwasia movement, the obedient movement, and all others. I think 2022 has been a good year so far for in terms of politics, and as well in terms of other aspects of the government, which they fade hopefully. We all know that. But when it comes to politics, so the youth, it has been a good year for them because they now have to, they now know the right from the wrong. They know who to support. They know that they have to support this person because of so thing that the person has done, not because of somebody imposing it on them. I like if you notice, Mr. Wish, you see that the youth actually came out so very well for the registrations of voters card and as well in collection as well. So I think 2022 has been a good year so far. But there's still bad aspects, you know. Like the Russia-Ukraine war and all that. But it's okay, it's okay.
All right, all right. Now, from what he said it's been fantastic. We talk about political awareness. He talked about the youths coming out in March to say, yes, we are here. We are involved. Talked about the Kwankwaso movement, the obedience movement, the Atiku movement, the Tinubu movement. You just name it. They all came out. So, Chris, I mean, you heard him. Do you share his own views and opinions?
Absolutely.
In what aspect?
Absolutely. A single take, if you take the barometer, so to say, to measure the temperature, you'll notice that the intensity is on the very high side. The thought front, it's like there's a sudden reawakening. Everybody wants to get involved. The movement is intense. So much participation, so much contention, so much dialogue, so much discussion. So it makes it a very interesting one. It makes it a very, very interesting one.
A very, very interesting one. Derek Ohunwago said it's very, very interesting. You've been in the political scene in and out of it. Is there any difference in your perception, or will I say what you felt about political awareness or consciousness in the year 2022?
Well, the year 2022, I would say, is a continuum from the year 2020, which marks the beginning of the beginning, from the beginning of a new set of political ideology.
Oh, hold on, beginning of the beginning, from the beginning. What is the beginning? Please throw a light on that.
You recall from 2020, a new kind of idea, national idea for political reawakening, an ideology was bettered via the NSAS protests. And these NSAS personnel, folks who embarked therein, now formed a new political movement. They call themselves the obedient movement. They tend to be gaining a lot of momentum, even though some folks say they will run out of steam. Criticism has almost always been what inspires more steam into such movement. They are at the global scale. You will also recall that the American and European dominance of world power, of economics, has also been threatened by the BRICS, the Russia, India, what have you, Brazil coalition, trying to have their own cash currency for doing transaction as against the US dollars. That tend to be what have brought about a lot of the political unrest between Russia, Ukraine, America supporting the Ukraine, the Iranians supporting the Russians, and so on and so forth. So the 2022 marked the peak of political and economic agitation, both at the local and the international scale. From next year, I'm sure it will be much more clearer. The change in the ideology in the political landscape will be further crystallized towards the rebirth or the birth of this new ideology in politics and economy.
All right, now three of you agree to the fact that there is an increase in tempo. We talk about political awareness. What do you think led to this political awareness, Honorable Destiny?
What I think led to this political awareness is the fact that Nigerians are now awakening to the kind of leadership they have. They now want to choose their leaders. I think before, they always say, before it was wait and see government. But now they want to choose their future with their hands. That's why I talked about the Kwankwaso movement, the obedient movement. This is one in a kind. It has not happened in the history of politics for youths coming up to speak their mind. You see? So politically, I will rate this very high, I will rate this very high because for youth coming out in masses, for the collection of their voters card, not minding the odds on the queue, and trying to register as well. This is simply that Nigerians are tired of the bad government. Nigerians are tired of them seeing governments they don't even know about. They want to choose their future with their hands. They want to be the one to actually choose their leaders. So that's what I think about that.
All right, now talking about choosing of leaders, he gave reasons why the youth tend to come out en masse this time around to say, this is our turn, we are here. Is it all about leadership? Because he says because of the leadership they've been subjected to, hence the youth are like saying now they want to choose their own leaders. Is it a matter of saying whatever will be? Chris?
It's a factor. It's a factor. It's intrinsically a factor. People just suddenly woke up and saw the need to. The people are tired. The people are how to hold their destiny by their hands, to take the bull by the horn. That's what's engendering all this movement. Proud to now. And again, there was a bill in the year 2016, if I'm correct, for youth involvement in politics.
Yeah, not too young to run.
Not too young to run. And by 2018, it was passed into law. So the youth want to be involved. The youth want to involve. They want to take the bull by the horn, put their life in their hands, change the political terrain. Yes, for crying out loud, the people have been pushed to the extreme. Somehow it's a function of so much accumulated frustration. You know, when you live in this part of the country that is so endowed with a lot of resources, and yet the people cannot enjoy from all the endowment that nature has given to them. So it is a movement, it's a symbolic movement, the involvement of the youth. It's a movement to correct the abnormalities in the system. So that's why you see them coming en masse. Before now, youth are known for one thing. They are the one that change the nucleus and the psychology of a nation. Proud to now, people create an aesthetic distance. They don't even see the need for it. But this year, 2022, it has taken a new dimensions. That's why you see all of them involved. Those ones who have not been used to voting before are now going to get registered for their PVC, get their PVC, and they are saying, this time around, we are going to be involved. We want to participate in government. We want to transform. There's a radical movement that is on. That is what is informing this, what we can see.
All right. Now, he made 2 points. Talked about frustration and talked about also the not too young to run bill. Don't forget also about the adjustments in the Electoral Act. Take it up from there, Honorable Derek.
And the aspect of frustration on the parts of the voters, the voting public, and the Nigerian populace in general. Yes, it's as a result of the distant detachment of almost the entire political establishment from the people. It appears anything goes. The political establishment, the major political establishment of Nigeria, or the Nigeria political landscape, in the Nigeria political landscape, often have thought that whatever decision they make would always give them victory in elections. But as it is now, they are beginning to rethink their decisions because it might not be favorable to them going forward in elections. So the move that is being made now will right a lot of wrong in our political history. In that, if you feed a candidate that is not acceptable to the voting public, the public will reject that candidate and focus somewhere else. Owing mostly to the fact that the voting public have not been empowered, wherein votes will not count more than ever before through the introduction of the biomodal voter accreditation system that tends to, tie, and the amendment of the Electoral Act that tend to tie total accreditation of voters to total number of votes. In the past, total number of vote cards can be more than total number of accredited voters, yet election will be deemed free, fair, and credible. But at the moment, because of the Electoral Act amendments, the total number of accredited voters, which will be electronic, which is almost unmanipulatable, will reflect the number of votes that also can be brought forward by the same system. So anything that is contrary to the total number of accredited votes will render that election void in that particular unit or voting center. So voters are now more empowered more than ever before, and their votes now counts. And because their vote now counts, they can, change a system if they so desire. Not to also forget the fact that one of the things that Buhari administration have done that is laudable is that it was his administration that made this possible. These recommendations have been there for years now for this system to be overhauled. for the electoral to be amended, but nothing was done about it. But Buhari administration was the administration that had the political will to make it work. So we must give that to him. And the fact that his administration is the administration that also made excess liquidity in the economy, you know, that also put a check to it by this electronic economic system that he also introduced, which is coming in the eve of election. This will also go a long way to check vote buying. So all of this would affect the outcome of this election, but positively.
All right, now you heard what he said, right? Do you have anything contrary to his view, giving encomiums or showing encomiums to the president about what he did when he talked about the election? That is on one hand. On the other hand, some are saying the electorates are the ones pushing the electoral process. How do you feel about this? They are saying that they've taken power from political class and now is upon the electorate. From these two angles, take it up from there.
I'll support my brother, Mr. Derek, because the Buhari, in as much as Buhari has done evil to, or done bad, let me not use the word evil, there's also a good part that he has done. Okay, in the aspect of if the electorate are the one to decide who to govern them, that's the truth, that's fundamental, you know. Mr. Wilson, I'll put this question to you.
Don't forget I'm the anchor. I'm not asking the question, but go ahead. Go ahead. It could be
I like to ask Mr. Questions.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson questions, you know. Mr. Wilson, if you were to be these masses, let's assume you are everybody, won't you be tired of this political, should I say, menace? Won't you be tired? At least the people are tired, so they are coming out to choose their leaders by themselves.
So you're saying that the electors are the ones driving the process right now?
Yes. They are the one. And normally, that's how it's supposed to be. The electors are supposed to be the one to choose who they want, not one leader coming on stage and just, oh, this one should go. Even if Namoki may go. No, that's not how it's supposed to be. Let the masses choose who they want to be under. Let them choose their leader. This is the same thing as choosing your future in the next 4 years. Do you remember back 4 years or 8 years back how it was? I think the prices of rice and other things was very low. But right now you know what to say about it. The dollar to naira, you know what to say about it. That's why I said, Mr. Derek, there's also a bad aspect of it. That's why I said, in every disadvantage, there's an advantage. Yeah. So
what?
The electorates are the one pushing their leaders right now because they are fed up of what has been happening in Nigeria as a whole.
All right, they are fed up. We are fed up, they are fed up. Some are still saying, man, we want this thing to continue. Well, I'll take it up from there, Chris. Yes.
Well, I like to really establish that every successful government, one way or the other, has been criticized. There's no one you put on the page as a saint. There are always one issue to pinpoint. Well, you know, what the only difference with this administration is that the fabric of living, the basic necessity for living, is nowhere. When I mean the basic necessity, security, food, that's why it has become a serious issue. But you see, you just talked about the bimodal voter identification system.
Yes.
You know, some persons are still contending it. They don't want to make it. They don't want it to see the light of the day. But where I'm critical about is you have power to do what is right. You have a good policy, but the will to execute it is also an issue. The man controlling that. You know, Nigerian politics is one of the most complex in the world. That the more you look, the less you see. That is what I am critical about.
The more you look, the less you see.
Just be hopeful and optimistic, and let's see what comes out of it.
the more you look, the less you see. Is it going to play out in this election right now? Because people are like saying, this is our election. We're taking it away from the hands of the leaders right now in Kubo. But they say the more you look, the less you see. Honorable Derek, do you share his views, talking about doubt of the process, despite the fact that the height of political awareness in Nigeria in the year 2022 is very, very high?
Well, I wouldn't know what angle the feudal laws of the Nigeria political landscape will come through to undermine the votes for 2023 election. But from what is on ground, from the template that have been designed, this election is supposed to be, you know, to a large extent, free, fair, and credible. You know, Nigeria as a nation, obviously, I've never had it this bad economically. So I'm sure that the voting public would exercise their franchise, and the option that they choose would be what will be upheld by the electoral umpire. You know that Nigeria today have one of the highest unemployment rates in the world, with 33.3%.
Yeah, that's correct.
Our inflation rate have gone up to around almost 22%.
21.49.
You know, our interest rate gone up 1% to 16.5 as against 15.5% in the past. You know, our GDP is less than $2,100, whereas Egypt is pursuing more than $5,000 GDP, even though we started at the same time. You know, so the economic aspect of our political, you know, lifeline has not been very encouraging. So I see that affecting the voting pattern by the Nigeria public. But that the vote will not count, I doubt if the vote will not count, owing to the fact that a lot of things have been put in place to ensuring that vote counts. So I'm hopeful that the vote will count this time around.
You are hopeful that the vote will count this time around. The more you look, the less you see. Honorable Destiny, take it from that angle, because as I said, they're having doubts right now, because the electorate are saying our votes must count.
You like that word, the less you see, the more. Yeah, it's true though, it's true. The less you see, the more you look, the less you see. Because actually it's what we are seeing that we count on. We don't know what the hidden agenda. Today it's Obi, tomorrow it might just come out differently. Nobody can tell. You understand? Nobody can tell. That's why I use that word. The more you look, the less you see. Nigeria politics is like, it's funny to the core. And we all know that. That's why I like saying the truth. You know me, Mr. Wiss. I like going straight to the point, saying the truth. Because this politics today is different from the one before. That's why the presidential election is going to be very, very dicey, tricky as well. Nobody can actually, as of today, you can say Kwankwaso, Obi, Tinubu, Jagaban. They all have
the rest of them.
Yes, Atiku. They all have what's it called followers, massive one at that, and nobody can actually tell who will actually win right now. Nobody, everybody's on the platter, the same. So it's going to be very, very dicey.
Every wing has
yes.
Every wing of all the political party has their youth wing. They all have their youth wing. But my take is how responsible are even the youth. I'm trying to be very circumspect with the use of language.
That's why I use it.
I've not called any party since.
Yeah.
But how responsible are youth? How many of them even participate in election? How many of them have their
PVC?
Their PVC.
It's not about ranting.
And that is where that is another bone contention. That's another thing to look at. You know, proud to now, talking about successive administration, I may not exactly be pious or parade myself in that way. I know this is a public space, and we must be guided by our conscience, even with the things we say. You know, some people just make noise at the end, they collect money, they are induced, they get money, and they go vote for someone. And you see them making noise everywhere. So, how responsible are we? What are the parameters put on ground? What template are we working with? But I know one thing for sure. In an ideal situation, it is the electorate who determine their destiny by the quality of leaders that they vote for. And we can't do the opposite. If you don't get it right, you don't get it right. All of us begin to squalor in pain. You know, economically, before I came here, I heard some of the things some persons were saying. People are, I think I was privy to politics yesterday. And I overheard Reverend Lulu Martin said something. It sounds very funny, but it's a point. He said we are all tied down in frustration. We are all tied down in hunger. The air is not friendly. But as a professor, the faith that we profess, we have to be hopeful. We have to talk positively. People are really going through so much in this country. Where you have over 135 million.
And to be a factor in the next
election. Factors. The H factor right now, the hunger factor, the frustration factor. Do you think it's a play out?
Yeah, it is a play. It will play out big time. Like I said Nigeria's unemployment rate, it has gone up from around 27% to 33.3%. And majority of the employable people in our economy are youths. So if you are saying about 90 million people that are employable in our economy, just over 45 million are employed, you know, or over 50 million are employed. What happens to around 35 million people who are without economic engagement? Do you think they will be happy? The answer is no. So these people will vote according to the election, as popularly promulgated by Wike. They will vote according to their stomach, according to how they feel, how the economic situation is biting hard on them. And one thing I've noticed recently, a lot of young people have come out to vow that they will not sell their votes, that even if they are made to collect money to influence their vote, that they will collect the money and still vote their conscience. And a lot of people, just like you said, I'm very sure the youth will not sell their vote this time around. Just to make that point clear, because we haven't interfaced with a lot of the young people who are actually more determined more than ever to change the narrative. Mind you, the people that mostly participate in the electoral process are the youth and the women. And yes, in the past, the youth used to collect money to influence who they vote for. But this time around, most of them are saying, even if they collect money, they will still vote who they have determined from the past to vote for. So I'm very sure that the system this time around will be different. And the result also will be different from how it used to be, owing to the fact that a lot of templates have been put in place to ensuring that the election is free, fair, and credible.
Over now to you now, the hunger factor. He said the youths, he's sure of the youth, they will not sell their votes. I mean, did you have that notion or that view from what is really going on? Taking a look at the indices on the ground.
Taking a look at what's going on at the moment in Nigeria, we can only speak of the now. We cannot speak of the future. The youths they've woken up. They want to choose, like I said before, they want to choose their leader. They now know that these leaders will determine how our lives will look like in the next 4 years or 8 years. So, to me, though, the youth, since they've woken up, I don't think it will be a factor anymore. Even if there's going to be sharing money or anything, but I believe in them right now because I'm a youth. I believe we now want a stake in our future. We now want to be a part of it. We want to choose our leaders rightly. So even if they are going to be this buying of vote or anything, they are going to collect the money. I know that because they're not going to put sugar for your mouth. It looks salt. It's normal. Let's be truthful. So normally they are going to take the money. But I believe them to vote their choice. I believe them to vote someone they know that will change their life in the next 4 years. Because one thing I always say, if you believe in it, I don't believe in it, it will not work. We both have to believe in it for it to work. So we should all believe in one thing, that vote buying is wrong. And there's no amount of saying vote buying is right that can change the fact that it's wrong. It's wrong, it's wrong. But they're not going to give you money now, you still say no. Right. You can collect the money and vote your choice. You can collect the money and vote your conscience. Because in the next 4 years, after 2023 election, it's going to be very, very, very dicey.
Very, very dicey. Yeah. Over to you, Chris.
I found, what conscience do you have if you collect money and vote for somebody? It's my opinion. I'm a very opinionated person. I think we have a moral imperative. We have a duty.
Moral imperative.
Yes. If you say you collect money from me, vote for B, what conscience do you have? Do you understand me? I feel it. For me, I feel it. It's a criminal act.
A criminal act?
You don't want to vote for somebody, you don't want to vote for him. If you collect money, you are binding. It's a contract. You vote for that. Vote the person. You have collected the person's money.
Sorry, sir.
I don't care how we try to Christian.
Okay. Hold on.
It's my take. I feel it is not plausibly right.
You should go to the.
And I don't care how we.
Sorry, sir.
Okay, you are deferring my opinion.
No, the truth is, I believe you should walk.
Because that's what I hear most times.
You should walk down the street and see what they say. Yes, we should not just assume.
This hunger strike, I think, is concocted by.
Because you get to hear the money they are giving to you is your money.
Yes,
and vote your conscience.
Yes, that's where we have problem. We try to justify it.
No, they will tell you this is our money. I go collect them first. Have you gone to the street? They'll tell you what do you have. Because when you are there, you will not you will not see us in the next year. So we want to collect
I'm
that
very careful. I'm very careful with statement. I said in my own opinion.
Opinion, of course, yes. Okay,
that's
Derek,
how I viewed it.
You've listened to both of them. You're like, you're smiling. So what's your take on this? What's your take on this? Quickly.
On the issue of vote buying.
Yes. Because he said it is criminal for you to take money from A and vote for B.
Vote for the person.
But it still exists.
You know,
it still exists. Okay.
Morality has always been a factor that determines how a country thrives.
That is true, absolutely.
And we must do everything possible to uphold our culture of decency and honesty. But one of the bane of the moral decadence in our society is leadership. Nigeria suffers from gross, chronic, acute poverty of leadership. I find it very funny when people blame the common man on the streets, blame the followers for the wrong, for the rot in our society. Whereas things flow from the top. If a country is going to be good, the example must be shown from the top. If we are in a country, a society that does not honor academic success, whereas we honor those in the social sector that tend to flaunt their body. I don't want to mention any particular, name of any particular program, but we have honored people who have who have gone to a place to flaunt themselves, flaunt their nakedness and so on and so forth. We've honored them with titles and money. Whereas those who have done well in the academic sector, in the moral sector, in the civil sector, receive very little of encomium and encouragement. So it becomes very normal for the society to behave anyhow it wants. For example, as soon as you are giving, a lot of people are giving political power, they go for a utility vehicle so that they can carry security details who will be armed with all sweep and guns to intimidate people on the highway, you know, on the street, and your cover will move as if there's no brake in the vehicle. Whoever tries to, you know, stay on your path, your security detail will whip it. So it becomes a norm.
Now back to the collecting money.
Yeah, check this out.
Or no criminal.
It becomes a norm for the society to do wrong. So if I will not blame the voter out there on the street who have boasted that he will collect money yet votes for his preferred candidates. A lot of people in our society are not thinking straight anymore. You know that when you stay too long in a dark room, it becomes normal. You now start to see, you know, even in the darkness.
Yes.
So, except until we have the right kind of leadership in place, until we have put our house right, so that people will begin to unlearn those negative tendencies that they have imbibed over the years. Then let's just manage with what we have now. Right. Let's maybe we should, to some extent, look at, yes, that moral decadence of people saying they want to collect money yet vote another candidate.
Thank you.
But when things begin to go in the right perspective, people will start to live that righteous life that is expected of us.
Thank you. Society. Our time is up.
I respect comrade view.
Yes.
I respect, but it's not absolute.
It's absolute.
Truth is a universal something.
Okay, well, thank you.
No. See, he's actually saying the truth. People will, if you go out there and start telling them, don't collect. See, we are being realistic. We are not speaking from maybe book or anything. We are speaking from the streets. Go out there and tell market woman on that they not collect money or they give 5,000, not collect anything. Go vote your choice. If they not pour you tomatoes.
No, you know, thank you. I'm not against collecting, man, but I'm saying as you collect, vote for that fellow.
Okay, fair, because you said if you collect from one person,
that before you are trying to say is
I don't want to overflow these issues.
What you are trying to say is if one party has the money and the resources to buy votes that they should win. That's what you are saying.
Comrade.
That's what you're saying. In this,
comrade.
That's what you're saying.
Gentlemen, we have other sets of panelists to come really throw more light on this aspect because it's all about the year 2022. In retrospect, we've taken a look at the political aspect of it. We're going to dive into the economy and, of course, security if time permits. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on today's show. I appreciate your wonderful analysis. Don't go. We'll be right back with some other guests that are here in the studio.